welcome everyone back to the Living Rewired Podcast. And I have what would almost be probably considered my co-host these days is my friend Holly. And it's been a long time since the very first episode we ever did on the podcast, when it was still just the Jungle HQ podcast, and we spoke a lot about things in your field of specialty with women's health. And I thought we'd revisit that today, given that obviously the podcasting is continuing to improve in its quality, with Charles helping us out with the filming and production. And for those that are probably listening to this now on the standard platforms, you'll get cut off shortly, because
suckers.
The full episodes are from now on going to only be in full on the Living Rewired app, which has just gone live on the App Store, which is super exciting.
Oh, it has?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I only just made my way back to social media today. I took 4 months off. And to your point there about, trying to drive online businesses and stuff, exactly. It's just, that's why I needed 4 months off, to find the energy again to be ready to actually come back with a purpose and, I guess, revisit what message it is that I actually want to be pushing in the fitness industry,
A lot of people should do that who don't do that.
Yeah? Anyone in particular?
Me. Well, I just think people in general probably should take time off social media to revamp their energy. And
I was so resistant to getting back on. It's just...
Were you?
Yeah, I don't want to. It's just...
You just don't like it at all.
I don't like it at all, no. But it is a necessity. Yeah. But again, for a long time, I think, and some of the draining nature of the social media stuff, and we've spoken about this heaps, is, you spend a lot of your time and effort to create valuable content that really is partly the service of which people pay for, which is your information. And it's just continually putting out something for not necessarily any return. It's a bit like a tunnel that's just never ending. So at least now with the app, again, like I said, I've got a bit of an intention to be driving traffic or drawing interest towards that platform, and sort of creating my own little social media where it's actually integrated or interactive, with people that are,
really wanting
it and actually value your services and have been loyal, I guess, followers, rather than the wishy-washy stuff that goes on.
But also with social media, I just find people's level of concentration is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The more you get 60-second reels. Now we're down to 30-second reels. Now we're on TikTok, which is a 5-second thing. Then it's to grab somebody is very challenging, and to grab somebody with a level of depth is very, very challenging, I find, on social media.
Yeah, and I'm not there to read. I'm guilty of it too. If you've written something this long, I can't be fucked. Yeah. I'm skimming past it.
That's why I always do slides now.
Yep.
With sound bites, because people just...
Yeah, they don't have the time or the intention. No, I've got one here. Thank you.
Look at him, he's smiling at you.
Teddy man, Uncle Jack, huh? I also found, for me, I probably got caught up a little bit previously in almost this competitive mindset with it. So whether it be, we're mates, we're peers, but, Hol's posting some new great content that's, maybe... a rare study or something like that we haven't heard much about yet. And then, again, someone who's one of the best at it, Jake, dominating there, or, there's a million people you could be mentioning here that are putting out fantastic content. And I found that I would fall a little bit into that comparison world or expectation where I need to be trying to put out content that's rivaling that or of some nature. And then I've kind of gone full circle to this conclusion again, which is my market and target market these days is the general population. And even the time that I'm spending going to create this content, looking up the studies, it doesn't apply to fucking any of you.
And they don't care.
And 99% of you just need to stop eating less shit, actually walk adequate steps.
Who would have thought?
Drink some water.
Wow.
And get some sleep. And that will, if you can't do those things, stop worrying about the the protocol or, you know, the special supplement or whatever it may be, you know.
Mate.
And so
You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah, I'm coming back on going with more, that fully opposite approach now is I'm going basic as.
Go basic.
That's what I want to do.
This is what I say all the time. Fucking start with the basics.
Yeah.
And do them well, you know.
What's with a lot of your clients, what sort of what's the most common things that you're finding that are
People don't eat well.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing I always get is, I've got all these health issues. I've seen all these practitioners. You know, I've got X amount of gut problems, reproductive issues, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm very sympathetic to those people because you shouldn't have to be suffering like that. So I want to make that very clear. But when those people come to me and we start consulting, and I'll say, okay, what have you done in the past? I've taken this supplement. I've done this gut protocol. I've done these herbs. I've done acupuncture. I've done
But they're
chiropractic.
skipping the nutrition
You know what I mean? And I'm like, right, okay, so wait, hold up. Like, give me a day on the plate. But literally walk me through what you ate yesterday.
Yep.
Oh, I'm super healthy. That's what I get all the time. I eat really well. Okay,
That's
cool.
when your ears perk
I'm
up.
like, okay, cool. Just run me through the day. And I start my day with yogurt and oats. And then I'll have whatever's available for lunch, maybe sushi. And then I'll have like a protein shake in the afternoon or a protein ball. That's always a good one. And then meat and veg for dinner and maybe whatever after dinner, maybe a glass of wine, some Lindt chocolate, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, I'm like tallying in my head, like, okay, so you've only had about 70
40
grams
grams of protein.
if that, 70 grams, 40 grams of protein. You've started your day with sugar.
Yeah.
You're not really eating that many calories if we look at that. Like, people's perception of what healthy eating is unfortunately so wrong. And it's not the fault of the general
it's not their
pop,
fault.
because the marketing on a lot of these products is very smart. You know, and it's not their fault to think that.
Well, that's exactly why we did that supermarket series.
Exactly.
Which we should probably do again.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, the marketing on, like, say, yogurt or oats for breakfast, you know, I can understand why people think that's healthy. But
yeah, exactly. And it says high
like,
protein, or that it's misleading. It'll say one serving counts for 27% of your daily protein intake. Is that for an infant? Is that for a grown man? There needs to be some variable here.
for an infant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, that's what I see the most commonly. And interestingly, that's the most challenging for people to actually firstly commit to.
Yeah.
And then stick to.
Do you think there is like a perception, how do I word this, that the idea of eating a high protein diet is viewed as a masculine thing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Like, definitely.
Is that a big obstacle, do you think?
Yes.
That women feel like, that's a lot of protein. Like, I get that a lot. Then people are like, oh, that's a lot of protein.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like when we talk in the gym, when someone goes, oh, that's heavy, because they've come in and they're doing something for the first time under guidance, which is obviously going to be probably harder than what they do on their own. But you've got to add context to it. It's like you've done 15 reps of it and probably had 10 more in the tank. So it might be heavier than what you're used to, but it's heavy compared to maybe your backpack. Yeah. But in context to what you're actually capable of and what's considered heavy in a strength training realm, not really. So, yeah, it's a lot of protein compared to maybe what you're used to.
For sure.
But it's not a lot of protein in regards to perhaps an ancestral style diet and the way that we used to consume, or where you just basically black and white should be.
I don't know where it came from, but somewhere along the journey of nutrition guidance for women, protein got absolutely fucking smashed.
Yeah, I don't understand how it's been separated.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, but somewhere along the line, women started to believe that eating too much protein was not only bad for you, it was going to make you bulky. I don't feel good on too much.
Do you have any idea what time period that would have happened? Like, would it have been?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
With,
I don't
like,
know.
I suppose like it's been like socially
drilled in
in the same probably times as when I guess you shift from the Marilyn Monroe sort of figure in towards the stick thin. Like, I feel like that would correlate maybe.
And I also think probably the rise in plant-based diets, and
all that propaganda.
Yeah,
marketing.
and like that obsession, like women. This is a huge assumption, but I would say that women are drawn to plant-based diets way more than men are because it's restrictive.
It's a means to cut calories without looking like you've got a disordered eating behaviour.
And they're probably not conscious of that, but I would say that's the case. So, that's probably not helped the whole, like, you need protein scenario.
And even just one I think about as well is from kids, everyone goes, oh, you got to eat your veggies to grow up big and strong.
Yes.
But where did that, outside of Popeye, where did that come in really? And again, it's one of the first questions that I'll ask people when, again, in these initial consultation periods is, why do you eat your fruits and vegetables? And they go, oh, for the vitamins and the minerals and those things. And they've just got absolutely no idea that from a nutrient density point of view, meat and protein has so much more
bang for buck.
And it's also, let's not even get into bioavailability. It's just really not understood at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I would say that, whatever that is, is the biggest challenge that I face with like clients and what I see constantly when I'm dealing with clients is that they just don't have an actual concept of what truly eating healthy looks like. And then beyond being able to stick to it for more than 2 weeks.
And do you think protein's put into a corner where it's only thought of as important for muscle growth?
Probably, yeah.
And not considered from gut health,
literally everything else,
neurotransmitters, every single cell in the human body.
Yes. Yeah. Reproduction is like a great way to explain why protein is so important, because reproduction is dependent on mTOR, which, we obviously need protein to stimulate mTOR pathways, which is out in
leucine specifically.
Leucine is actually, I had Sally O'Neill on my podcast yesterday. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's a nutritionist up in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
But she spoke about leucine in the sense that what research has shown is that you actually have to have like a dip in leucine in order for it to bounce back up. But then you have to, at the bounce period, you have to then consume animal proteins to get enough leucine for it to dip back down and bounce back up. So you have to be eating 5 meals of like bioavailable protein throughout the day to have adequate amount of leucine coming in, which, as you know, is like so important for muscle growth. So
that's interesting, because I haven't, and it's a concept that's a little bit hard to follow, but because usually I haven't seen huge amounts of research that shows the difference between, let's say, 4 meals and 3 meals and 5 meals, but I've seen lots between, let's say, 1 meal and 6 meals for hypertrophy.
Yeah, so she was talking about, do you have 10 meals a day or 1 meal a day, where you have all your protein in the 1 meal and then, or spread across 10, and she seems to think that, that 4 to 5 meals is sort of the optimal way to consume protein, because you're getting around 20 to 30 grams per meal then.
Yep.
We should be.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, but like protein's just essential for everything.
Yeah, it really is. And why do you think when you get people that say, oh, I don't feel good on eating high protein, or they're struggling, they're feeling heavy and lethargic? I obviously feel like I know some answers to this question, but I'm prodding.
Well, the biggest one